Hey everyone, welcome back. Professor Hank here. So today we're going to have our next episode of Office Hours. I haven't done one of these in a while. Been super busy. This semester has just been absolutely crazy with work, and so sorry I haven't been able to give you an update on things that have been happening and all of that. But today I wanted to um, talk about a few things and make some announcement, do some news things, got some shout outs and all of that stuff. And congratulate all the students everywhere, all across the world, who are finishing up finals, or maybe they've already finished up their semesters and they're looking forward to a nice summer break. For those of you who are going to be able to do it, it's time for some you time. It's time for some self care with all the stress of dealing with school and finals and all the rest of that stuff. It's time to chill. Maybe if you're a nerd like me, and you probably are if you're watching this channel, computer programming channel, all that, busting out your favorite video game or whatever. I'm playing Stellaris right now or I will be, as time frees up. The semester is winding up. I'm going to have a week off, maybe, if that. So that's going to be the game that I'm going to be binging for a while. But the semester was crazy because I've been teaching the 4 classes at 3 different community colleges, and 2 of those classes were new, right? So you may not know this, but when you're first starting off, when you're teaching a class for the first time, I mean, that's the most work. That's the most labor intensive part of it, because you have to write a lot of the materials from scratch yourself. You're not really reusing anything from previous semester because it's the first time that you are doing everything, right? So, I'm teaching all asynchronous online classes, so all of the videos have to be done, and on my potato of a computer, it would take hours for me to do the editing and all of that stuff, and then you have to upload and all of that. I mean, the recording of the videos would take, I don't know, half hour or something, depending on what the video is and all of that. But then the editing would take like 4 times as long. But finally, thanks to all the members and people supporting the channel through Ko-fi and super thanks and all that, finally was able to get an upgrade and bring my computer up to being 2 years out of date instead of 10 years out of date. So thanks to all the people who are supporting that. But so things are going to be a little bit more efficient, and so hopefully I'll be able to get back on track and with things slowing down quite a bit, start posting more content more regularly. Because now that the semester is wrapping up, I'm able to have all the videos done and things for the new classes that I was teaching, and I'll be able to reuse and leverage some of that materials in the fall, right? So it should free up some time, and my workload should drop a little bit. So 4 classes at the junior college level is kind of like it's almost like 8 classes at the CSU level, right? At the 4-year level, that when I was working at CSU East Bay, because at the junior college level, the classes, to put it in face-to-face terms, were a lab and a lecture, which was typically 3 hours twice a week. Whereas when I was teaching at CSU East Bay, the lectures were 1 hour and 15 minutes twice a week, right? So it's double. It's more than double to teach at the junior college level. And so I was teaching 4 classes equivalent at the junior college level, more or less. It was almost like working 2 full-time jobs. And for a couple of those classes, like I said, I didn't have any materials. I had to write all the materials from scratch for them. And so it was basically work, record, write materials, grade stuff, go to sleep. It was just this endless cycle of stuff. And so if you've been wondering where I've been, and maybe why I was growing a beard, and maybe I didn't even have time to shave, Speaking of which, thanks to all the people who responded on the post, on the comment in the post area, the community area, with your fashion advice, because I had no idea what to do. So if you look at the poll, the overwhelming majority said that the beard had to go. I think only 10% of people in the poll responded, yeah, the beard's great. So I'm serving my viewers, serving the viewers and the fans of the channel. There you go. It's gone. So, thank you very much. And I think it does probably look better, right? I wanted to experiment with it because I'd never done it before, and it just did not work. So as you guys said, and the thing is that when you're dealing with something like that, people they don't want to be rude. They're not going to say to you, "Oh, that looks terrible to your face," right? Even when you ask somebody, tell me the truth. Do I look fat in this? Nobody will ever give the honest answer, right? So it was nice to be able to ask you guys anonymously, and to be able to get some honest advice, some honest feedback, which is always important for evaluating whatever. So thanks about that. So we're back to this look. For what it's worth, it's kind of funny. It's kind of a funny thing to do, to set up that poll and see what you all thought, because I had no idea. I'm no prize anyway, but that beard wasn't helping matters any. So thanks tons about that. So let me give you some more announcements here. The summer session, I'll be working summer session for DVC, for Diablo Valley College, teaching object-oriented programming, and that class is maxed out. The enrollment, the regular enrollment's max 35 students, and the wait list is max 2. I didn't give you any kind of an announcement ahead of time for anybody who might want to take that class. So just too busy to get on here and make that announcement. So that thing's booked up, and that's actually going to be taking me a little bit of my time too, because I want to be writing a lot of the materials for that for the first time. I'm not going to have a lot of stuff to leverage from previous courses. So that's going to take some time to put that together. And it's a 5-week course, I think. So it's going to be intense. There's going to be a lot of work to be done in that. So that's going to keep me quite busy, over the summer. So, depending on what types of videos that I need, you might see some updated, posted object-oriented programming videos, for C++, right? So, looking at inheritance, polymorphism. I already have videos up there that do that, but we can build on it. There's sections of that textbook that the videos are based off of that we use in our classes that aren't covered in the 110 or the 165 classes, which is what the majority of the videos, the C++ videos I have, are there for, to support the class is at the universities that I teach at. But there's additional stuff that belongs to a third class, and that's the ComSci 200, which is object-oriented programming. So exception handling, for example, is some additional stuff in there. The C++ library dealing with different types of containers. So I don't think I have any videos specifically handling that stuff or covering that stuff. So I anticipate that I'll be adding some of that in the summertime, because needed for the course, right? And that's what this channel was set up for, was to support my classes and all of that. So that'll probably be the new content to support that ComSci 200 class. The fall is everything that I did this past spring. I'll basically be doing it again with the exception of one class. So I anticipate that I'm going to be back at Los Bananos College in the fall teaching the Java data structures class again. Got really good feedback from students on that. I was kind of surprised because I put that together for the first time, and there were some things that I didn't like about how I did it, about some of the source materials that I chose and all of that. And I was thinking about changing it around a little bit and making some tweaks here and there, but the course evaluations were all very positive. So now I'm kind of afraid to mess with anything. Maybe streamline some things, maybe, fix minor defects, like spelling stuff in the labs, and just to improve the overall quality of the content itself, rather than change actual content, major pieces of it. Tweak the grading system a little bit, all of that. It worked out pretty good. I think the overall class did work out well, even if there were some things that I wanted to deal with. If you're in my 132 class over there, I'm going to be putting out or sending out a Google Forms survey with just some more information that wasn't covered in the official course evaluations. So get your opinion on some other additional things. I'm not exactly sure how much of the workload, if I gave you too much or too little, because I tried to do some new things in that area for this class. So I'll make an announcement. I'll send that out to your LMC email accounts probably after the semester's officially over, after finals week, which will be completely anonymous because I don't, it's not going to impact your grade in any way, shape, or form. I'm just looking for some feedback, some ways that I can be better that were outside of the scope of the standard stuff that the department does when evaluating courses. Okay, so there's that, the data structures Java class at Los Medones College. I'll be doing that again in the fall. At Diablo Valley College, I will be doing data structures in the fall, so I won't be doing 110 or 165 there in the fall, which is what I normally do. Instead, I'm going to be doing the 210, the data structures class. So if you were with me in 165 this past spring, then you should be ready. You should probably take 200 first. So then you can get that with me in the summer if you want. Hopefully you're already enrolled. And then we can hit the data structures class in the fall. Although I have to think about this. I think you can go from 165 to 210. I think most people will be able to do that. So if you are in my 165 class and you're interested in taking the data structures of the fall, I think you'd probably be okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything that you would need. I don't think so, because the data structures class, it's about managing memory and creating different structures in memory. And the way I teach it is you write a class to implement them, and then we use that data structure to do something interesting. So there's not really anything outside of what we covered in 165 that you would need. And if there is, I'll give you a video to show you, right? If I come across anything when putting the materials together, I'll make sure that it's there for you. So I'd say don't hesitate to enroll in that class if you're interested. And it's full, but the waiting list is not. So there's still room to get on that wait list. I think last time I checked, the wait list was 5 at time of filming. So feel free to give that a look, see if you're interested. Loney College, I'll be back there also with the same 2 classes, and there's plenty of room in those. I think they just opened it up. They're on a different registration schedule, I think, than DVC and LMC are. So they're starting to fill up now, but there's still a lot of space that's available. And if you're watching this and you're in this video and maybe you're in some other institution or something, you might want to see about, and you'd be interested in taking a class with me. I think that'd be neat. I think that'd be really cool to have a student who first came across me in, my YouTube channel or whatever, and then take a class with me. I think that'd be pretty exceptionally neat. So don't hesitate to reach out. The California Community College system is really good with working with remote students from all over the state and even, out of state. So feel free to look into that and see what you would need to do to get involved. And maybe you're thinking about going to community college or going back to community college or college in general. And you're like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Or maybe it's going to be your first time. The California Community College system is free now for anybody who's going to college for the first time. It's fantastic. It's about time. And that this is a recent change within the last, 2 years or something. And it's a great opportunity for you to get your feet wet and try out different things at low or no cost, right? So you have to buy the textbook or whatever, but it's a pretty easy way to get into trying out some things and seeing what you might be interested in doing before you go to a 4-year school where they charge you, out the wazoo. But anyway, so Ohlone College, we're finishing up there too. And I'll be doing the same classes in the fall. And that is the CS 102, which is Introduction to Programming Using C++. And it's at a much slower pace than the computer science classes at DVC and LMC. So they're for absolute beginners. and they're perfect. I mean, they're even easier, I think, than what we see at DVC and LMC, because just Aloni, they just do things a little bit differently, and it's totally fine. They just have a different path to what they do, and I'm all there for it. I'm all about it. It's great to be able to have a little bit more time to absorb the material, and at a slower pace, and I think that's great. I think it works for both places. Obviously, DVC and LMC are fantastic institutions, and DVC is one of the best transfer schools in the state. But Ohlone is fantastic. Also, the staff there are fantastic. My dean's fantastic. My coworkers are fantastic. The students are fantastic. It's great, and they just cover things in a slightly different track. And I think it can be really, really, really useful to have maybe that little slower pace. They just do it differently. That's all. And it's just right, I think. So anyway, so you can check that out. And the only thing the only reservation that I have about it, and this is something that if you're in one of my classes there, I'm going to be sending out a Google form asking you your opinions on some things too, is that they asked me to use this new textbook, this new type of textbook, which I've never used before. And traditionally, I'd been using the Tony Gaddis textbook for C++, and we also used it for Python and Java too. And it's been kind of like the standard for my career for the last 10 plus years. And it's been great. I've had it dialed in, right? But with this other technology, this e-textbook, it's a very interactive textbook, and I think it's fantastic in that it's interactive. So as you're working through the material, you're answering questions, you're writing code within the textbook itself. It's all web based, and I think that's fantastic because it's not just like, oh well, I'm going to read this thing, and then this chapter, and then by the time I'm done reading the chapter, forget everything that I read 5 minutes, an hour ago or whatever, however long it took you to read the chapter, and then try to program. That's I think their approach, I think it might be better overall because of the fact, oh, you read a paragraph, you read a page, now do something. You go to the next page, read a paragraph, do a page, now write some code. Go to the next page, read a couple paragraphs, answer some questions. I mean, so you're interacting with the material the entire way, and I suspect that's superior. The problem that I have with the Zybooks textbook that we were using is that it's buggy. It's been buggy. It's not been reporting grades consistently or correctly. I had to contact their support and tell them about errors in their code that they had to fix. And the way that they communicate between Canvas and their textbook for updating the grades in my gradebook and all that, the automatics thing, I've had problems with it. It hasn't been performing consistently, and so I end up having to go in and manually update things anyway. And so that's been frustrating. Naturally, other colleagues of mine haven't had any problems with it. It's just me. I'm cursed with that, apparently. But I think it's good. And I also think it's good in that since it's interactive, the influence of ChatGPT is minimized, right? So there's the way that it's set up, and you guys can tell me differently in the comments if you've cheated using ChatGPT or whatever in the Zybooks textbook, but the way it's set up, I think that's minimal because you still have to go through and answer all the questions. You still have to interact with all the material. And just as a side note, I mean, if you're using ChatGPT to do your computer science courses, you're a moron. You're a flat out moron. And I'll say that without any hesitance because I know what coding interviews are like. And when you go into a coding interview and that team is sitting there and they hand you the whiteboard and the marker and say, okay, write some code for us. What are you going to do? Right? You can't, they're not going to let you break out ChatGPT to solve the problem for you. So yeah, it's up to you. Do you want a degree in computer science or do you want a degree in asking ChatGPT to do things for you? That's your call. But anyway, so in interest of equity and fairness to other students who who are pursuing their education the right way and trying to do it the right way. I think that's another plus in the Zybooks column, is that you have to interact with the material, so you can't just ask AI to solve all your problems for you. And then I've also built in some things into my materials where even if I can't prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that you cheated or whatever, your grade's still gonna be punished for it. And it's some people don't like that, but I mean this is the reality that we live in. Where it's really easy for people to cheat in a remote environment. So we have to come up with strategies to at least throw roadblocks in people's way to keep them honest, and to be fair to the students who are actually, being honest and having integrity and doing all the things that they're supposed to do to learn. So that way, they're treated fairly. So we're experimenting with that, and for students of mine, I in those Google forms I'll be sending out, I'm going to ask you some questions about that. Again, completely anonymous, right? Just what you thought about some of these strategies and how in the future I can apply them, modify them to make them better. Asking you how much you used ChatGPT or whatever for your homework assignments. Because I think ChatGPT, it's one of those things where, I say that harsh language, right? I'm like, oh, you're a moron if you, but there are colleagues of mine that are using it in a way in their classes that I think are very good, or potentially very, very good, right? If you already know how to code, right, because you did it the right way and you know how to solve problems and all of that, ChatGPT and other AI tools applied intelligently can certainly speed up your workflow and make you more efficient, right? But it can't do everything for you. And a lot of colleagues I talk to, they're designing, just like I'm trying to do, are designing their assignments in such a way that ChatGPT can't do the work for you. Now, to what level of success we're doing that, we'll see. But so far, I've been kind of happy with some of the things I've been doing. Where you can write assignments to where ChatGPT will give you the wrong answers, and if you just copy those answers, even if we can't prove 100% that you copied those answers, you're going to get it wrong. Your grade's going to suck, right? Because it's ChatGPT. It's not all knowing, right? You can fool it. You can ask questions in certain ways that it's going to give you the wrong answer, right? Because it can't understand exactly what you're asking of it to do, for example. So, but if you use it as a tool to speed up your workflow, right? As a more intelligent Google substitute, because you're like, oh, I can't remember how many bytes there are in an integer, or what's the term for an unsigned or for a data type that holds only positive numbers or something, right? Give me an example of how to initialize a variable using that or something. Well, that it can save you some time, right? If you use like that, okay, that kind of makes sense. But when you're first learning, you should avoid that as much as possible. Because if you don't know what you're doing, then you're not even gonna be able to ask the right questions, for example. So it's a big conversation, a big problem that we're gonna have. And keep in mind too, another thing, if all the problems in software engineering could be solved just by asking ChatGPT for code, then why would we need you? Right? Why would we need to have computer science classes? The project managers could just have ChatGPT do everything for them. So it's important that you become valuable as a problem solver, regardless of what tool that you use. And a lot of people have this doomsday idea about AI and replacing programmers or coding and all that, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I've taught AI classes in the past, and I know a little bit of the history of AI. And every generation, there's some new breakthrough in AI where they say, "Oh, this is going to replace whoever. This is going to screw over these people," and it's never happened. I think it's still a little too early to say, how this tool is going to shake out. So I'm not panicked about it yet. But we'll see. It's certainly better than any tool that we've had so far because we have the hardware to run the tool. But we'll see. Okay. Um, yeah. So, just a couple things to think about. When with regards to that is make sure that do your homework and pursue your education the right way. Okay. If you're using AI to assist you in your studies, you're not going to learn anything. It's like going in and just asking somebody the answer and then writing down whatever they told you. What did you learn? You learned nothing, and your degree is going to be useless. So it's up to you. It's on you. It's your life at the end of the day. Okay, so um, yeah, we got the announcements for the semester's coming to a close. My summer semester, I'm only teaching the one class for Diablo Valley College. In the fall, I'll be back at Ohlone teaching the same two Intro to C++ classes, data structures class at DVC and data structures class at LMC. And hope to see you there. Hope to see you there. And thanks to everybody who took my classes in the past semester. Really, really appreciate it. It's been a great semester. The students have been pretty fantastic, I have to say, at all the institutions. And it's been fun um, integrating into the culture of the two new institutions that I've been working at and seeing how the different approaches and being able to compare and contrast. Because in my career now, I've worked for, oh, geez, CSU East Bay, Diablo Valley College, Los Medanos College, Ohlone College. So 4 different institutions, and they've all been fantastic. I would go as a student with supreme confidence to any one of those institutions. As somebody who's got all my degrees and stuff, they're all great. They're all great places to go, and the professors are fantastic. Okay, anyway, so next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to give some shout outs to some people because I haven't done that in a while. And the first shout outs I want to do is to the members for the channel. And none of these members, for anybody from any of my institutions might be watching this. I know that I have colleagues who will use my videos and things for their classes, which is fantastic. If you are an educator and you are watching this and you've checked out my channel, whatever, it's in the description for the channel. You are free to use any of the content on this channel for your classes at will, right? This is purely up here for educational purposes. I mean, yeah, my channel's monetized, but just tell your students the same thing I tell my students: install your favorite ad blocker, and make sure that that's turned on so you don't have to watch any of the ads or anything like that. Because the vast majority of the views that I get, they're not from my students. I mean, I've got 16,000 subscribers and tens of thousands of views per month and all of that. That's not my students. So, but anyway, so the members I want to give some shout outs to. Again, these are not students or anything like that. These are just people who were very generous and wanted to give back and show some appreciation for the channel because it helped them out with some problem they were having or whatever. And I just wanted to say thank you to all you guys. I haven't done it in a while, and the new equipment that I have, the better video and hardware that I've gotten now, which is going to make life so much easier, is because of you guys. Thank you so much for that. Although I will say, I'll be honest, I did buy myself a beer with some of the money that you did. I did buy myself a beer, but got the CPU, got some new memory, and got upgraded. It's gonna make things a lot easier for me here. So thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys. So on to the names. I'm gonna butcher some of these, so I apologize. So Sihan Emina Ozin, I don't know where you're from, but thank you. Mert Kavilcio Glue. Sorry again for your name. Thank you. Pause. Thank you very much for your support. Really appreciate it. Glenn Houston, thank you. Carl Rip, thank you very much. Brian Monahan, appreciate you, brother. Thank you. And Ball as well. Thank you guys so much for joining the channel as members at the undergrad level. Really appreciate you. Also have a supporter over at Ko-fi. Ko-fi.com. You can buy me a coffee there, or donate whatever you'd like to. If you would like to give some additional support, you can do that as well. But wanted to thank my subscriber over there, and The name of the subscriber there has been very, very, very generous, is Arian. And Arian, thank you very much for your continued support. Really appreciate it. You helped make some of these computer upgrades happen. So really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One other thing I wanted to mention too is that for the slides for my AI videos, I'm now hosting them over at Ko-fi as well. So I'll leave a link in the description to the store there, just as an FYI kind of thing, if you're interested in that. I don't know if you know about the AI videos that I have, but they're what I put together when we went into COVID lockdown, when I was teaching the AI class over there, and I was quite a few pounds lighter than I am now. But that's all on the channel too. I got a playlist for the AI stuff, and it's based off of the most popular AI textbook out there right now. That's what we use at the CSU East Bay, and written by guys over at Berkeley and all of that. And so there were no real good slides for that textbook that I found, so I just wrote a bunch myself. And we covered in that class the first 9 chapters of that textbook, going all the way from the beginning, the history of AI, what is AI, what are intelligent agents, simple game playing, finding solutions to problems through searching, stuff like that, looking at first order logic and basic reasoning of intelligent agents and stuff like that. So all those videos are on the channel, have their own playlist, but a lot of people were asking me, hey, how can I get those slides? How can I get those slides? So I started a store, and I moved the store over to Ko-fi, so you can get those for a nominal fee, right? Just buy me a beer and you can have some slides is basically the idea behind that. So I'll send that, or I'll put that link to that in the description below in case you're interested in that. So anywho, the last thing that I will say, and I don't want to get too political. The only reason I'm going to bring this up is because there has been the movements on the campuses regarding the Israel-Gaza situation. And that situation over there is incredibly just horrifying. But I worry that there's going to be people who are protesting, and rightfully so, I think. Right? I mean, that's a tough situation over there, and I can see arguments on both sides, and I can appreciate, Israel's side. I can appreciate the Palestinian side, but as somebody who always is convinced that you should always kick up and not kick down, I tend to lean towards the Palestinian side, but that doesn't matter. My opinion on that does not matter at all. Okay, the only thing I wanted to say was that be careful when you go to vote in November. You might stay home, or maybe you vote for somebody because you want to send a message to Biden. The alternative to Biden is orders of magnitude worse in every conceivable way. So just be very, very careful. We're in a tough situation here, and we have a system where we've got 2 parties, and they talk about voting for the lesser of 2 evils. And I think that sometimes you gotta just choose the lesser of 2 evils. And if you look into a lot of the other things that Biden has done, and even if you don't agree with his handling of the Israel situation, which I don't, I think he's done some things that are good on it. I think he's done some other things that are not good on it. It's a very complex issue, and I'm glad that I'm not in his position having to make decisions about it. But sometimes you do have to vote for the lesser of 2 evils. And if you remember January 6th, remember all the stuff that went into that, and the Trump presidency previously. If you don't think you can influence policy now, you really can't influence policy in an authoritarian state. So we're all outraged at what's going on, but we also have to take into consideration everything and not just one issue. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. And I support all of you students out there who are forming movements and making your voices heard, Real change happens in this country through movements. They're the most effective way of making change happen. Voting is incredibly important too, absolutely. Otherwise, if it wasn't, certain people wouldn't be trying to take away your right to vote or trying to disenfranchise whole blocks of the population. So never discount that. But the real change happens in movements, and real changes that happened in the 60s that were driven in the Vietnam War and civil rights and all of that stuff were driven by college students on college campuses pushing for change. And that is admirable as heck, and I'm all there. I'm all there for it with you guys. I really am. So make your voices heard. Do it peacefully. Do it the right way, and all of that. But don't forget the bigger picture, right? We can't afford to be single issue voters. All right. Anyway, so that's all I got for you this time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the students who are taking my classes. Without you, I wouldn't have a job. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your feedback. Thanks to everybody who helped make the decision on what I should do with the beard and all of that. And thank you to the members and to the Ko-fi subscriber. I really appreciate you guys. Your contributions, your support makes a difference. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.